Congratulations to both of you for your nominations. Admiral Pekoski, with regard to security in general and sort of the philosophy of security at our airports, for about a decade after 9/11, the Bush administration opposed the frequent traveler program, and they said, oh, everybody's going to be treated the same no matter what. It's universal risk. And I always thought that was a mistake, because I think you need to spend more time where there's more risk and less time where there's less risk, and you can't possibly give the same level of scrutiny to all the passengers. So I think we're doing better, and I like your approach that you're talking about, being in favor of the frequent flyer program as a way to spend more time on those who you know less about and perhaps have more risk. As you and I discussed, I think there's also a question of how much resources we spend on the random screening at the airport and how much we spend on looking at the risk of people before they get to the airport. And what's your opinion on whether we're spending enough before they get to the airport versus when they get to the airport, and the mix of that, and whether we need to make any changes?
Senator, thanks for the question. Thanks for your time yesterday. I think that mix, from what I understand as a passenger now, I have not been briefed by TSA in detail on the classified portions of those reviews. But that's something I would pay a lot of attention to very early on, if confirmed. As we discussed, and I've said earlier today, putting more people into the Trusted Traveler programs is really, really important. I think it improves the passenger experience, and it makes the screening a lot more effective. And like you just said, sir, it allows the resources that we have that are limited, and airline travel is increasing at about 4% per year, so we need to be mindful of that. So to the extent that we can become more efficient but not suffer any loss of effectiveness in security as well.
Are you aware of the program that we have for veterans that are amputees, what our screening procedures for them?
Not in detail, sir.
Okay. I'm a little bit aware of it, and I think they will make special accommodations for them, but I think it may require calling in advance, which isn't always happening, and unfortunately we have a lot of veterans that are amputees. One of the things I'd like you to look at, if you would, is to specifically look at this program, and I would think there'd be a pretty simple way that, it's pretty obvious if you're an amputee, and that if you could present a military ID, that you don't have to take your prosthesis off. Yes, and I have a friend who's a triple amputee, and just having him take all his prosthesis off, it's a labor for him, and it makes him less likely to want to fly, basically.
So I agree, and I just think it's not right. So I'll take a look at it.
Mr. Glaway, on one of the things that's really bothered a lot of us who care about privacy is the fact that now citizens are being detained at the border and denied entry back into their country unless they present a password to their phone. I understand the need for information, but I also am a believer that you accuse somebody of something, you get a warrant from a judge, and there's a process. Do you think our current policy is consistent with what citizens should expect of the Due Process Clause of the Constitution, demanding their password, not denying them entry to their country?
Senator, thank you for the question. And the policy decision on the border search has not fallen under any of my positions in my prior capacity. With that being said, in 24, 25 years in law enforcement, the Constitution is the bedrock of everything I've done in my career, the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment specifically. And people being secure in their privacy is the utmost. And I will continue that in my career here as the intelligence, if confirmed, as the intelligence head for DHS, and would adhere to any policies and procedures or precedent-setting cases in regard to that matter.
Just be aware that there are at least a significant portion of our country that is concerned about it. We have a bipartisan bill to say you get a warrant. I'm not against you going after threats. I'm not against you asking to look at a phone, but you have to ask a judge first. And I think the thing is that people are alarmed at the fact. People are already talking about you can't take your phone abroad because you may not be allowed back in your country without searching your phone. And that's your phone, what's on your phone, and there's more extensive documents on your phone than anyone ever had in the papers in their house at the time of the revolution. So, I mean, I think we can't willy-nilly just say you can't come back in your country, without looking at everything on your phone. They're also not telling you what they do with the phone, whether they're downloading all your contacts, all of your search history, all of your internet browsing. So some of us are very, very concerned with this. I brought it up with General Kelly. I don't think he shares significant concern for that and said the policy will continue. But I can just let you know that there's a significant amount of the public that's not happy about the idea idea that you could come back, and I think there is the danger that you come back in if you're not lily white and look like some sort of standard version of what you think is American, that you're going to have your phone searched. And that's kind of what it's looking like now. But if you have a risk associated with it, you want to ask a judge, by all means. But I don't think we should be stopping people from coming back into the country and demanding to look at everything on their phone. Thanks.
Thanks, Senator Paul. Senator McCaskill.